Hey, welcome to the podcast, JD.
Chad.
We're here. We're doing a quick cast. Got some complaints about length, so we're going to do a quick cast, and we're going to have our extended podcast after this. So
That's usually the only thing anyone ever complains about is the length.
length. Our language. People mostly like our language. And us. We're pretty cool
Most
people.
of the people that watch this are like us, or similar in nature.
They're like-minded individuals, so to speak. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have 2 minutes on each topic, and we're going to bang right through them, and on the 2 minutes, we must stop and just go to the next one.
We're going to PTI the PUI.
Yeah.
Boom.
Still in the format. We did that. And on that note, first topic, go. Trades. Big trades this week. Marshall, Shady McCoy, Foles, Nagiata, and Graham. Which one do you think's the best? Which do you like?
The best actual overall trade is looking like the Jets. Or, no, wait, they just stole a guy. The Bills.
No, I like Jimmy Graham trade. Jimmy Graham trade makes an offense that's already the best running offense. Yeah, it is one of the best running offenses in the league. That much better. Because now what are you gonna do? You're gonna either have when they run the option, you're gonna have Marshawn Lynch running it. You're gonna have Russell Wilson running off the edge, or you're gonna have now you got Jimmy Graham in the flat. You can't guard all three.
No, you can't. It's going to spread it out. They're going to have to do 11 on 11. They won't be able to put a spy back there to hang on Russell Wilson anymore.
Yeah, you can't do that. So then that spy's going to have to stay on Jimmy Graham, which you're going to leave him to cut loose. I do like the Marshall trade to Jets. Jets, if they also traded for Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's in there too. But I want Geno to have some weapons. I want him to have a chance.
It was a smart move going out getting veteran leadership.
Less than a minute about it.
Okay, I'm just saying it's a smart move for them to go out and get veteran leadership.
We'll talk about that in a second. We'll just talk about the rest of these. Foles. I don't understand what the Eagles are doing there.
I knew exactly what it was. They were getting Bradford to bait in Murray. That's all that was.
Why'd they want to bait in Murray, though? I mean, I know why they wanted to bait in Murray, but why would Bradford be the bait? That's my question.
Because Bradford's the ultimate bait, because those guys were roommates in Oklahoma. They, shared a bar soap in the whole nine yards.
I didn't think you looked at it.
They were all buddy-buddy.
And the last one, Naginata, whatever the name is. Went to your second favorite team.
Hey, they had to fill a hole after they lost Sue. Yeah. But can't blame them because they weren't going to be able to pay him.
Filling holes is fun. And we are down to 3, 2, 1. Boom! First topic is our bitch. Start again. Topic done. Start again. Next topic. Jets make a splash. And by making a splash, what do? They trade for Brandon Marshall. And they only got rid of a 3rd and 4th round pick, I think is what they traded him for. Or maybe it's the 2nd and 3rd round. Whatever. They didn't get
3rd and 4th round. They didn't lose.
They didn't lose much. They signed Darrelle Revis. That was the big signing for them. They gave him, what was it, like $80 million over the next 5 years?
They overpaid him, but they're getting exactly what they wanted. So it doesn't. A man's worth has everything to do with what you value him at, not what the world values him at. So
I like the fact that they overpaid him and gave him a lot of money because every team he's been on has been good. Even when he went to Tampa and they played a Tampa 2 zone scheme, he still had 6 or 7 interceptions.
Well, we'll expand on this later, but I think they also signed somebody else to that defense that's really going to shore it up as well.
Yeah, I don't remember who it is.
Neither do I. That's why I said we have more time.
I don't remember who it is.
But the Jets are building a defense that's going to be something scary.
Well, really I'm curious to see what else they do because I honestly prefer to see I want Geno Smith to have weapons and see what he can do with weapons. He did not have weapons last few years. Now they have Eric Decker. They have Brandon Marshall. I don't think Percy Harvin's coming back. And actually, he's further down the list on top big name players still. So I want Geno to succeed, but also want the Patriots to win the division again. So kind of torn, but that division is getting a lot better.
Finally.
That division, you got Buffalo's stacking up. You got Miami stacking up really nicely. Jets are making moves.
Well, the Jets and Miami are stacking up on defense, and they're doing it.
If you think about
they're tearing the Patriots apart. They're like gutting them.
If you think about it, the Patriots haven't done anything this offseason.
They never did.
They re-signed their safety. That was it. They lost both their corners. It's freaking stupid. And timer again.
And they play a pile of salary cap space too.
All right, next topic.
Let's say overpaid Gustafsky.
Eagles surprise. Eagles are just shocking me right now. A lot of their moves don't make sense.
It didn't make sense before, but now everything's starting to pan out, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. That's really not that terrible. I mean, everyone in there might have liked Shady McCoy, but I think they're going to like having Murray there better, but we'll see. And Bradford for Foles, I'm still not sure about that with Sanchez as your backup, but Bradford has not really got a chance to prove himself, so we're just going to have to see how that pans out. And Foles, I think, is more durable, so I think he might line up better behind that St. Louis line, which is it's weak. They need help out there.
My thought process: you get rid of Jackson last year, McCoy this year. You got rid of you basically let Macklin walk out the door. I don't understand what they're doing. You take guys that are productive for you and you let them go. That doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. You're not setting a good precedent with the players you're going to be bringing there whenever you're taking your most productive players and getting rid of them. It's not a good precedent for me. I don't know what the Sam Bradford trade was about because Sam Bradford has not been a good NFL player yet at all. So.
He hasn't got a chance to prove himself yet, but that's kind of his fault, kind of not. He's not very.
You can't help it if you can't help it if you get injured. I mean, it's not like he's out. He's just like, oh, my back hurts, I can't play, like Jay Cutler did.
Well, last year when he got injured, it was just kind of ridiculous because it didn't look like he took too hard of a knock or a hit or a stretch whatsoever at all.
Same thing with Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer, all he did was step up in the pocket, he went out, done. So, Eagles. I don't know. I'm sure there's they're not finished yet. I'm sure they're not finished.
There's something going on.
There's definitely something going on. There's a plan of mists. So there's a scheme out there, and God knows Eagles coach is a schemer, Chip Kelly. And timer again. And next topic, Colts solidify. They are, in my opinion, and we'll get to this later, they are winning the free agency right now. They've picked the best players. They picked Frank Gore, which I've always liked. Frank Gore as a fantasy football player, guy who plays fantasy football, not a player in fantasy football. Guy that plays fantasy football. And I just started the timer late, but oh well. And I always liked him. I'm probably going to draft him this year. I won't draft him. I'll draft him later rounds, just because he's with Andrew Luck now. Because Andrew Luck's going to check. Andrew Luck's going to check down.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot more receptions than he is.
And then you got Andre Johnson, and they still have a good $30 million in cap space.
Yeah, they got room to move. I think the Andre Johnson move was more intelligent because they definitely needed more weapons for Luck to get to. But by having a running game that's going to be more effective, and not necessarily by Gore's presence on the field, but his presence in the locker room and leadership to the running back core, I think that's really going to go a long way with that, and I think we're going to finally see Luck get there.
Andrew Luck, he makes a lot of guys look really good.
He does.
And he's still got those 2 tight ends. He doesn't really need a lot of receivers, to be completely honest. Like last year, his most productive receivers was T.Y. Hilton. He was the second option. After his tight ends, he was actually a second option.
Yeah.
So
I think as far as I'm concerned, and I know we're going to say it later, but I'll say it now, they're the winners as far as free agency goes. But we'll see how the draft comes together. But right now, they're my overall winners.
For all we know, they're going to trade up and they got something planned for the draft. I mean, I'd be psyched if I was a Colts fan with what they're doing or what they're attempting at least.
Well, especially with a running back heavy draft, which is something they really have had issues with last year. Really have. I mean, they were 4 or 5 deep by the end of the season in their running backs because of injuries or whatnot. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
Well,
but if they do smart in the draft, they might be the overall winners up until the preseason. And then the only issue I have is they have not really solidified their defense. They re-signed their safety, and that's about it. They pulled the Patriots. They only re-signed their safety. They need to get better defensive players. And timer. Actually, we were timed out like 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's fine. And start a new one. All right. 49ers are sucking. In my opinion, 49ers are the ones that are doing the worst. You don't get better by subtraction. You're getting rid of your coach.
That's right there. That you hit the nail on the head. That is what is causing everything that's happening right now. Now, understand, Mr. Willis might actually have some serious freaking issues going on with his feet and his body.
Well, Aldon Smith is done too.
Well, but more power to him. If he thinks he needs to quit or needs to retire to preserve himself so he'll be able to live a couple more years, more power to him. But I really think the linchpin in all of that was getting rid of Harbaugh.
Well, you got a whole bunch of guys that's bailing on the team. You have Crabtree, you have Stevie Johnson, you have Frank Gore. You have those two guys. You have
Willis.
They did sign Darnell Dawkins.
Yeah, but Justin Smith might retire too or move on.
Yeah. You don't get better by losing players. Sometimes you do, because sometimes you get rid of guys that are crap on your team.
But they haven't lost any.
Like Dallas last year got better by subtraction. They got rid of some of their players that were costing too much money, that were over. For example, who's that defense? DeMarcus. No,
who?
He was a lineman, defensive lineman for Dallas. He went to Denver.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of it right now. We're
not
going to waste 2 minutes.
But anyway, they got rid of guys that were not productive. And they got better by subtraction. By getting rid of crap on your team, you might make the locker room better. You probably fix a lot. Like, for example, I think the Jets do better this year. They don't have Michael Vick in the locker room. Not trying to get back on that. But 49ers, you can't get better losing players.
Well, getting rid of Marshall, the Bears getting rid of Marshall to the Jets, that's actually going to help the Bears because he was poisoned in that locker room. And we discussed that at long length.
He's big time poison in that locker room. Whenever you're in New York for a radio show rather than at practice, and timer. Okay, big winners for this.
Colts.
Colts
are
the topic.
Colts are like boom. They're winning. They're winning.
I mean, they're not getting the volume of players. I mean, obviously the Eagles have done the volume of moves, but I mean they did
smart moves. Still plenty of cap space. Still not terrible position in the draft. Not the best, but not the worst. I mean, they're down there, but they still have a chance to run away with this thing. They really do.
And my point is the players they've got are going to make the bigger impact on their team.
Well, and not just on the field, but in the locker room.
Yes.
Like, they're bringing in players to rejuvenate that.
Veterans.
And Andre Johnson was completely miserable in Houston.
But he's still productive.
Yeah, but he's completely miserable. He hasn't wanted to be there for 3 years.
Well, yeah.
Because they just weren't making the right moves to benefit him. Now they're going to give him to Andrew Luck, who is a productive quarterback.
Very productive.
And just, it's going to make Andre Johnson better. His numbers are going to come up. I mean, if fantasy, look at him. He's going to be there. You're going to want him. And if he goes past the second round, you're not going to get him.
You know who's going to be a lot better because of that? We can hold a fantasy podcast. We can literally do a whole fantasy podcast on this because we can look at the impact of everything. For example, like Julius Thomas is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which puts him as like I would put him at 6 or 7 on tight ends because of where he is now. Because he doesn't have a quarterback that gets in the red zone very often, or a team that doesn't get in the red zone very often. He had the most red zone touchdowns of anyone on Denver last 3 years.
Yeah, but you put a weapon like that in the hands of someone who's willing to take chances like Blake Bortles, that might just turn.
It might turn around, but I don't think he will be the fantasy guy that he was last 2 years.
No, I'm not. If he's hanging out around 6th, 7th round, I might.
Same with Jimmy Graham. I mean, I like Russell Wilson, but he is not. He is by far not Drew Brees. No, not too many men are, but Drew Brees, that offense is still going to be good, but he is not Drew Brees. And timer. Start again. Next topic. Big names still available. Let's throw them out here. Spiller, Bradshaw, McFadden, Harvin, Shorts, Crabtree, Cameron, and Gresham. Who do you like? Where would you like to see him? There's also Greg Hardy. I hope the Redskins sign Greg Hardy if he can just get his head out of his ass. Because he would be a good pickup for our defense.
If he can get his head out of his ass.
If he can not be a douche and be off the field all season.
I don't know. I'd like to see what Cecil Schwartz actually does in a productive quarterback environment. I'm curious to see if he could be more productive with like a Manning or a Luck. And I think, and honestly, Colts, you could probably get Cecil Schwartz at a hell of a deal.
$2 million.
Like you can get him for nothing. Just get him a year contract, overpay him for the first year, see how he does. If he works out, make him earn his money for next year.
I can see him going there or Buffalo. Buffalo needs a receiver.
Well, they need a receiver, but I'm just saying because we know right now that the Colts have the cap space. They got $30 million to burn.
Well, I mean, Jacksonville does too. Why haven't they ever signed him?
Because it's Jacksonville.
I guess that's true. So, he doesn't think it, but I think C.J. Spiller's going to land somewhere, and he's going to revive his career just by being something. He still has 4.4 speed. You can't teach 4.4 speed. He will go somewhere and be successful.
I have yet. Jesse's had him last 2 years on fantasy, and I've just been completely.
I mean, if I get him like 16th round, I'll take him. But I'm not gonna.
Well,
you can be my first.
I wouldn't even get him as a backup. I just I have that little faith.
The thing is, he'll go on a better team. Buffalo's not had a great offensive line the last decade. So what if he goes to let's say the freaking Dallas Cowboys pick him up. Behind that line, anyone could be. You and I could run behind that line and get 4 yards a carry, just because that line is so good. And I know you underestimate how good that line is. Damn it, I want to go back and talk about it.
Can't.
I know. Okay, number 8, disappointments. Okay, my personal team is the Redskins, and they've signed 2 guys. They've re-signed one of their tight ends, Miles Paul, which he's not great. He's god-awful. And they could have had Cameron. They could have gone Gresham. Actually, Gresham used to play for Jay Gruden, so I don't know why you wouldn't try that move. And then they got a defensive player, and that's about it. And it's just horrible. So, it's just bad that the Redskins ain't trying anything. Maybe no one wants to go to Redskins. That might be what it is. Maybe they're trying, and everyone's like, I ain't going there. Anybody got time for that.
I don't even know what kind of room they have in the cap, though.
Redskins? Well, they expanded the cap $10 million, so they automatically had at least $10 million.
Well, I would have to say my biggest disappointment is the Raiders because they have all kind of money and they ain't got nothing to show for it.
Steelers?
Absolutely nothing to show for it.
Steelers don't have anything either.
Well, yeah, they've lost. They kicked Kiesel out. They lost Worlds to retirement, and Palomalu, let's face it, I love him, but it's time to go.
The other big one is the Patriots. They've lost so many players. They lost Revis, Brandon Browner. They might get Vince Wilfork back. They lost Shane Vereen, which Shane Vereen isn't a great player, but he's one of those few running backs that's very good at receiving the ball, and he was very good in the short yardage game. Who else did they lose? I don't think they lost anyone else, but it's the fact that the Patriots have not added anyone good to their roster is an issue I have. So what you looking up there?
No, I'm keeping the thing up here in case the Murray trade actually finalizes or Murray finally.
Yeah, I thought it was finalized.
No, it's still in Adam Schefter's head.
It's me.
It's still in Adam Schefter's head.
Still me. Okay, so that will actually be the last of our football talk. Good stuff.
The lightning round.
And Game of Thrones. New trailer today. What's exciting? Talks about Daenerys Targaryen talks about the wheel and how it's just all these names and the wheels just turn around. One name's on top, and another name's on top, and another name's on top. And us are gonna break that shit. Boom. And Stannis Baratheon has an army at the wall, and they're gonna deal with it. Now whether it's gonna be a big fight, I have no idea.
It looks like from the preview that he actually wants to take the wall.
Who?
Baratheon.
What do you mean take the wall?
He wants to take the wall. Because toward the end of the clip, Jon Snow was talking about uniting with the wildlings.
Well, no, I think they're the wildlings and the people at the wall. No, okay, that happened at the end of the last season. Was they let him through the wall? Stannis talked to Jon Snow and they let him into the wall, and then they burned all the bodies. They did it all at once.
No.
So my thought process is that I'm telling you, the reason why he went to the wall and helped them was because he could replenish his army. And I'm thinking he did that. Now, I think Jon Snow is having friction. There's friction between the wildlings, because they have a way of life, and the people south of the wall, and there's friction going on there, because the way they do things and the way the other people do things. So I think that's what he was talking about. Now, I wonder who was saying that Stannis Baratheon has an army at the wall and he's going to take them out. I think that was Bruce Bolton. I don't think his army could take on Stannis.
Bolton's army?
Well, Bolton is the Lord of the North, so he'd be the one to deal with it.
But I know, but if Stannis just got a flush set of cash from the Iron Bank, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, it could go either way. I put my money on Stannis because he's got that red cunt.
Yeah. I
fucking hate that bitch.
My cunt.
Fucking hate that bitch.
And top 10. We'll do 2 minutes for each of us. Ready? Are you ready with yours?
You can go ahead.
No, you can go first. I want to first last one.
Oh, you just want to fucking hate all my shit.
Yeah, go.
Alright, at number 10 we have the Hulk movie from Ang Lee, which apparently he didn't even read the comic book when he made it. He just like read the back cover of a graphic novel and decided to run with it. So I hate him for that, or hate that movie for that reason. Starship Troopers 2. Now I am an avid Starship Troopers fan. I absolutely love those movies, except for the second one. Two reasons mainly.
On this.
Number one, they're bullets. They have guns that have flashlights in the end of them. It's cute. It's supposed to be the future. Whatever. If you're not going to take the time to do a CGI pulse or something coming out of the gun, it's bullshit. You're just shooting fucking flashlights at bugs, and I'm supposed to buy it. No, I'm not buying it. Starship Troopers was the movie that used more bullets than any other movie. So, yeah, you got to stick with the thing you're good at. Second reason I hate it is the captain from the first movie that died was cast into the role for the second movie. Now, damn it, I pay attention to shit like that. And if the bitch is dead, don't tell me she's somebody else in the future. Don't. Smarter than that. Coming in at number 8 is Aragon. If I never read the book, I might have enjoyed the movie, but I read the book. And the description of Furthendur at the end of that book, before the final climactic battle scene and all that crap, I had this beautiful picture in my mind, and then they try to pass it off as some kind of dwarven encampment that was built into the side of the mountain. No, the fucking city was the mountain, you bastards. Read the fucking book if you're going to make a movie. Number 7, this will be hotly debated and contested by just about everyone in the world, was The Hangover. I fucking hated it. I absolutely hated it. I despised it. I found nothing intelligently salvageable about it. And no, I like dumb comedies. I really do. I really, really like some stupid ass comedies. But this one I felt dumber having watched it. Right after that, we have Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Damn it. Wow. That was just terrible. I didn't want to see the dude's dick the entire movie. And I'm not trying to Schweitzer up on this. It's just, the joke got old. It was pushed too far. It was just annoying, and the plot sucked. The acting was okay. Like, I just hated it. I did not enjoy it at all. It's like, I bought it in the $5 bin at Walmart, and I gave it away because I didn't even care. The money was tainted. After that, we have, at number 6, we have Sea of Monsters. Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters. And we talked about this a week, 2 weeks ago. It was just too kidded down for me. Like, the first one was done at an intermediate level to where there were some jokes in there for the adult fans, and it was really hitting hard on the Greek and mythology and all that, and I really enjoyed it. The second one just kind of like they took it from a 16-year-old level down to an 8-year-old level, and I felt insulted watching it. It was just a poor watch. At number 5, we have Swim Fan. I don't even need to go into detail because if you saw the movie and you like the movie, kill yourself. You have issues. After that, we have The Ring. That was just a terrible horror movie too. I absolutely hated it. At number 3, we have The Grudge. I hated that one as well. Just did not enjoy it. And not that I hate horror movies, I just couldn't get into it. Found nothing enjoyable about it. No saving grace for it. Actually, The Grudge was number 2. My bad. And the worst movie I've ever paid to see that I actually saw in the theater, and I took my father to see it, and I actually gave him money when we walked out of the theater because I thought it was that bad, was Wing Commander. I absolutely loved the game. I found absolutely nothing redeeming about the movie, not the plot, not the acting, not even the CGI, which was not executed very well at all. Hated it.
Okay, well, I can throw a lot of things out there first off because I can't stand horror movies. Horror movies, in my opinion, are not good cinema because they're too predictable. Every time I go to one, I can predict when things happen. And if I can predict exactly when they happen, then then I should have to pay money to watch it. So I could technically go that route, but I'm not. I'm going off movies that I had expectations for.
They had 2 in there.
Well, I have
3 in there. 3 horror movies in there. So
I'm talking about everyone. I'm talking just about everyone. The only ones that aren't predictable, like Stephen King ones. They're the best ones.
But I liked Freddy vs. Jason. I loved the new Friday the 13th. I loved the new Nightmare on Elm Street. I actually loved all of the Saw movies. I really enjoyed all of that. It was fun.
Saw movies, that's not.
They were fun.
In my opinion, that's not a horror movie. That's
Suspense,
just a horror movie.
whatever. But those 3, The Grudge, The Ring, Swim Fan.
You watch Saw for the twist. There's a twist in every one of them. There's a twist coming somewhere, and you're just waiting for it.
Yeah.
So
they got kind of predictable.
My top 10. I go off top 10 movies that I have expectations for, and they just don't live up to those expectations. So, like, number 10 is Punisher Warzone. Horribly done movie. It's just a really bad movie. They did not do it the way it should have been done.
Well, there was a reason Thomas Jane said,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you know how much I don't like this movie, and it's number 10, so you can imagine what everything else is. So, number 9, Battlefield Earth. That just wasn't done really well. It wasn't done very well at all. It could have been a pretty good movie, but it just wasn't done very well. Number 8 is Catwoman. And much as I like watching Halle Berry walk around in leather pants, and that's probably the only thing appealing about that movie.
So terrible.
And how hot she is. There's nothing else coming. How do you have a Catwoman movie and you're not even in the Batman? They didn't even mention the name Gotham one time in that movie.
Dude, they based it all off of like Egyptian mythology.
I mean, that's fine if you're going to try and do that because there's different origin stories for Catwoman. That's fine. But the fact that you don't even mention the universe that she exists in, the fact that DC allowed that movie to be made, you should be disappointed in yourself.
Shame on you.
Just saying. You should be really freaking disappointed in yourself.
That's part of the reason they're just now getting caught up to the MCU.
So. Scorpion King 3. The first 2 were not bad, and the 4th one wasn't bad. The 3rd one was retarded. It was just flat out stupid. You're not. Why do you keep? I don't understand why they keep doing this. Like, you ever seen? There's another movie that's Arnold mentioned. You ever seen On His Mad or in Honor of the King or something like that with Jason Statham?
I love that movie.
Yeah, but they made like a second and a third one. They're both horrible.
Well, the third one's got like Dolph Lundgren in it.
Yeah, it's second and third one just
that
god awful.
For itself.
Number 6, Hulk. Not the Edward Norton one, the one he was talking about. This is what I don't like. Why would you don't sully the name of something that good, which is the Hulk, Batman, Catwoman. Don't sully the names of those things to make a quick buck. That's one thing I cannot stand. I cannot stand. And like the next one, I'm not like number 5 is Superman Returns. I am not a superhero fan by any stretch of the imagination. But I understand, I respect his story, but when you just throw together a movie for money and make shit, I have an issue with that. Okay? You can invent a superhero and make it shit, but don't sully the name of something that's been around for years. Okay? You gotta have respect for the classics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I think the problem with that movie was they were trying to pick up where the last original ones left off, and they were trying to carry it over and make it new, and just there was no way to do that.
You can't modernize.
You gotta start over.
Just like you can't pick up, and I'll get to that later, but you couldn't pick up from the last Batman series and go from there. You had to start over because then people thought Batman was like 90 years old. Number 4 was Date Movie. This was the dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen. This is one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my life. It had a little bit of laugh factor to it.
It had Allison Hannigan in it.
Huh?
It had Allison Hannigan in it.
Yeah. And it's just any movie made by that group is pretty dumb. Like Disaster Movie,
Revenge of the Spartans.
I like Revenge of the Spartans.
Well, I'm just saying
they're all the dumb, movie. But this one was the worst.
Not another teen
Like for example, Epic Movie was another one. I actually laughed at Epic Movie, even though it was completely stupid the whole time. Date Movie was retarded. Was flat out.
Well, they're coming out with another one.
Yeah, they
super fast.
Yeah.
It releases the same day as Fast or Furious 7. Just putting it out there.
So they're making fun of Fast and Furious. I've thought about writing a spoof for that, but
hey, they're doing it.
Number 3, Freddy Got Fingered. I do not like
Freddy or
Tom Green. I do not like Tom Green.
Well, I don't like Tom Green either.
Tom Green is just... He was everything wrong with MTV in the 90s, seriously.
Well, the simple fact that he plays a character in Charlie's Angels that carries my name just pisses me off walking around the Chad. I got so sick and tired of that fucking joke that I really wanted to drive to Tom Green's house and fucking rip his testicles off and shove them up his ass, then take his dick and cut his throat with it. Too graphic?
That's very graphic.
My son's sleeping.
But I do not like Tom Green. I think he's a complete idiot, waste of space. I don't know how he got famous. He must know somebody. That's all I can think.
I think Johnny Knoxville gave him a job to get him out of his hurt. That's the only way I can think that happened.
Sounds about right. Number 2 is The Avengers. Not the one you're thinking of. It's the one made in 1998. It wasn't a bad movie for what it was, but I don't understand why you would name a movie after something as iconic as the Marvel Avengers.
Well, that was the name of the series back in the 60s.
I'm just telling you.
I liked it.
The movie itself was not bad. I don't like how they took the name. Couldn't name it anything else. So you couldn't name it anything else. Number 1, Batman and Robin. That was a waste of space Batman movie. That movie.
Is that the one where they're on the island and he goes, "Holy rusted metal, Batman"?
No, that's the one before that. This is the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. They had like 5 villains in the damn movie.
That one's like Poison Ivy, Schwarzenegger.
And then Bane was in it too.
Yeah, Bane was Ivy's little bitch.
Which I didn't mind Poison Ivy. She looked hot.
But they made Bane an idiot.
Actually, the top 2 movies Uma Thurman's in.
But I bet you like
I love Uma Thurman, don't get me wrong. But
I bet you like Kill Bill.
I love Kill Bill.
Let's see.
Kill Bill, I like her in the producers also.
I was on the other day and I missed it.
The new one?
I have it.
Didn't I gave it to you a long time ago.
Yeah, I just...
But Batman and Robin, they sullied the name of Batman with that movie. It's way too stupid, too
corny. That was
corny.
the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had another one planned, but they scrapped it, and that's when Nolan started doing The Dark Knight. They had one called like Batman Genesis or something like that. Literally, that's what it was called, or Triton. It might have been like Triton or something. I don't know.
Oh, they're gonna do bring Aquaman in.
I don't know, maybe. But that's my top 10, and obviously we picked ours for different reasons. Most of mine were either movies I absolutely hated or you use the name of something that's very popular, at least make it live up to the standard of what it is. So, all right. Anything else you want to add to this quick cast?
No, I think that's just about good.
31 minutes is a good time. Right now, we're going to go right to the extended podcast.
Well, actually, we're going to stop this one, then start the next one.
Yeah. So we're going to go right to this extended podcast. So, see ya. Bye.
We're just going to take a timeout.
Okay.